Cosmos, the mannequin who flew around the moon during the Artemis 1 test flight in 2022, was on display. Our partners at the Canadian Space Agency sent kids virtually to space all week long. And NASA experts from the Kennedy Space Center gave presentations and talks at places like the Niagara Aerospace Museum and libraries across the area. The outreach was a huge success, with thousands of people participating in the events and passing through our exhibits. And we just want to thank everyone who came out to see us at all our locations, and we hope you left a little inspired about space exploration and a little wiser about all NASA's missions. Okay, coming up, we've got a very special guest for you who's going to share the eclipse with us. CSA astronaut Jeremy Hansen. He's going around the star today, the moon. Not the star, the sun, the moon. The star of the show, I should say. He's going to be here. He's interacting with the public. We're going to get his thoughts on totality along with everybody else who is here. And we're pumped and excited. Right, everybody? We ready for the eclipse? You can hear the excitement. All right, now I'm going to send it 800 miles to the northeast to my colleague Angelique Herring, who is in Holton, Maine, where I hear you have some pretty good weather.
Hello, Daryl, and welcome everybody to Maine. That's right, we do have some great weather. We are here in Maine, and actually we're about 3 miles away from the Canadian border and also about the last stop on I-95 North. So we're the northmost spot for today's eclipse broadcast, at least in the United States. And so hello from way up north. Now, just like Daryl said, we do have some excellent weather here in Maine today. We've been here for a couple of days, and it's actually been pretty wintry right up until about yesterday. We had snow, it was pretty cold, but you know what? Today, the sun is out, the skies are blue, and it's looking like perfect conditions for an eclipse, or as the Mainers would say, wicked good weather. Now, we're actually standing here in Market Square in Maine, and we are outside of the Temple Theater, where it has actually been in operation since 1919. Over the last 150 years of its operation, it's seen everything from silent films to burlesque shows, and today, it's got a more celestial show with the eclipse. Now, the last eclipse to come through Maine was actually in 1963, and that eclipse was only visible for about a minute. In contrast, today's eclipse will be visible for at least just about 3 minutes or so, so everyone here is going to have a lot of time to take in the celestial show, really soak in the event. And the next eclipse won't be coming through Maine until 2079. So makes a lot of sense that we've got a lot of people here really excited to see this once-in-a-generation opportunity and event. We're all excited. I know everybody here is excited. So we'll be here waiting for the moment that we've all been waiting for, the eclipse. With that, back over to you, Megan.
Hey, thank you, everyone. It was really cool to see everyone along the path of totality. You can tell we're covering a large swath of land because everybody's in different kind of attire. You know, you have short sleeve shirts somewhere, and then you have like Daryl, who it looks very, very cold, and he does have some cloud cover, so I hope that it does kind of clear out for him.
I feel like we've covered all of those levels of weather over the last day and a half.
That's true, here in Cleveland.
So,
but it's looking nice now, so that's great. And actually, if you were watching our screen here, we just had a view of the eclipse in Mazatlan, Mexico. In about 10 minutes, that's when we'll start seeing totality in that area. And in that time, the U.S.'s top doctor is encouraging everyone to try and watch the celestial event for our physical and mental well-being.
Hi, everyone. I'm U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy. I'm thrilled to be joining you today as you gather to experience a truly awe-inspiring event, the last chance that we'll have to see a total solar eclipse in the contiguous United States for the next 20 years. The sun is a universal source of light and life. It contributes to our physical, mental, and emotional well-being, and it unites all of us. Today, no matter where you're watching from, whether it's along the path of totality or a partial solar eclipse, you are sharing the experience with millions across the nation. And moments of connectedness like this truly matter. Last year, I issued a Surgeon General's advisory warning about the public health crisis posed by loneliness and isolation. I shared that our connection with one another is a powerful force that can help protect against the damaging physical and mental health impacts of loneliness. What better reason is there to come together with friends and loved ones than to share a once-in-a-generation experience like the solar eclipse? This is an experience that will stay with you, precisely because of the awe that it inspires. Awe allows us to step outside of ourselves, giving us fresh perspective and opening us up to connections. So grab your Eclipse glasses and let's enjoy this moment together.
Some great advice. Thank you so much. All right, we have time for other hashtag Eclipse questions. Sarah, are you ready?
I am absolutely ready.
All right, let's take a look at this video from a familiar face.
Hey everyone, I'm Scarlett Johansson, and I play a NASA Public Affairs Director in the new film Fly Me to the Moon. I hope everyone is safely enjoying today's eclipse. I actually have a question about the moon for NASA. So during a total solar eclipse, I've heard that craters and features on the moon play a role in what viewers see on Earth when the moon blocks the sun. So why is that?
Question, Scarlett. So yeah, as we, the moon isn't a smooth marble. It actually has big, high mountains and valleys, these craters. And as we approach totality, sometimes you'll hear people talk about Bailey's beads, and these are the last few moments of sun creeping through those deep valleys.
Yeah.
Just before we hit totality.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's so great to have you here to answer some of these questions, and we plan to take more. If you send them in, hashtag Eclipse again. Okay, if you're just joining us, I'm NASA's Megan Cruz, and this is NASA lunar scientist Sarah Noble. And as you can see, you are watching the official NASA broadcast for today's total solar eclipse. And we are in the heart of downtown Cleveland, where NASA is celebrating this celestial alignment. Take a look at our shot from the air. That is how many people who are just here at the Great Lakes Science Center alone. So many more spread out throughout Cleveland, because again, the last time this city had a total solar eclipse was 1806. But again, just down the road, we have the only NASA center in the path of totality.
When it comes to NASA, I think a lot of people initially think of rocket launches in Cape Canaveral or astronauts floating above the Earth in the International Space Station. But there's a lot of research and engineering and testing that needs to happen before anything can fly. And we have those capabilities: supersonic wind tunnels, microgravity drop towers, vacuum chambers, and a research aircraft hangar. And that's why people from all over the world come to NASA's Glenn Research Center right here in Cleveland, Ohio.
What we work on, power, propulsion, communications, you need it for anything that flies.
We like to say the road to the moon goes through Ohio, and that's because our test facilities are crucial to advancing the Artemis program.
Part of our vision for going back to the moon and establishing a sustainable presence is having a lunar gateway. A lunar space station can fly successfully around the moon and sustain astronauts there. And we are leading the program that's developing the power and propulsion element.
NASA's Neil Armstrong Test Facility in Sandusky, Ohio. It's the only place in the world where you can test a full-size spacecraft for all the extreme conditions of launch and spaceflight.
Right now, we have the Orion spacecraft. This is a spacecraft that actually went around the moon, but we're using it as a test article now to make sure that in the launch environment, that spacecraft is safe.
When it comes to aviation, every U.S. plane has NASA Glenn technology on board, which makes your flight cleaner, safer, and quieter.
And looking at solutions like electric and hybrid electric propulsion systems that will reduce or give us different ways of converting energy that are cleaner.
Our center partners with a lot of community organizations to share NASA's discoveries or just get kids excited about science, engineering, technology, and math.
I really enjoyed the VR experience. It was really cool to be able to sit like I was an actual pilot flying. I feel like I could potentially look into considering aerospace.
We've also made it our mission to prepare Cleveland for the April 8th total solar eclipse.
We demonstrated different types of hands-on activities for educators to share with their students, as well as the science behind a total solar eclipse.
My favorite thing about Glenn is our people. Not only are they crazy smart, but they are genuinely good people. And we are literally part of almost everything NASA does. And so what's really great about being here is you're in the heart of it all.
And joining us live is now NASA Administrator Bill Nelson. So great to have you here for this celestial event. Thumbs up. Thumbs up from the Administrator. Now, Administrator, why are solar eclipses so unique, such a unique opportunity to study our sun?
Because you have the alignment of three celestial bodies, and unique things happen when that occurs. And it has a profound effect here on Earth. Just think about it. In the middle of the day, all of a sudden, it gets totally dark. And us Earthlings are not accustomed to that, and nor are the other little Earthlings.
Right.
All the animals. But it's also an opportunity for us to study much more one of those celestial bodies, and that's our star, our sun, and our star in our solar system. And we can find out more about that gaseous explosion that's coming out from the core of the sun when we can see it better. And we can see it better because we're not looking at the bright ball. You're suddenly looking at that corona, that mass of gases that are coming out from the edge of the sun.
Right.
And you don't have to be a scientist, right, to study this event, right? How do we get help from people across the country to help us study these things?
Well, by asking them. Make a note of anything that you observe and then share that with us.
All right, and Administrator, you know, we have to take precautions when viewing a solar eclipse. Remind everyone what we should be doing today.
Okay, you've got some glasses.
That's right. That's right.
The glasses are
all ready.
Absolutely essential. You want to put these on as it is starting to have that moon move in front of the sun, and we don't want you to damage your eyes.
Right.
Yep. And it's incredible. You put these glasses on in the normal sun of the day, you can't see a thing.
Can't see a thing.
But when you
Yes.
look at the sun, you will be protected.
Administrator, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time here. And now we're going to head it back over to James at the Eclipse board.
Whew, yeah, the countdown is on. Just a few moments left until the eclipse makes landfall in Mazatlan, Mexico. Right here, you can see where that eclipse totality shadow is right here. It's going to continue moving very rapidly onwards to Torreon, where we also have a live feed covering all of this event. Super excited for that big moment. And let me actually just go to our moon board here, and we can play through this at 60 times speed. I'll zoom in a little bit here. And Scarlett Johansson had a question a bit earlier about the kind of rippling effect that we see of the eclipse shadow. When you first see this right here, at first glance, you might think it's low resolution or we're lacking some kind of information here. The inverse is actually true. This is actually incredibly high resolution, this shadow projection that we have, because of data that we've been gathering at our moon for more than 10 years, thanks to an orbiter called the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. It's been mapping our nearest neighbor in incredible resolution, just really getting every single bit of valley or crater or mountain. All of those little imperfections on the moon are contributing to that shadow that we see rippling across the country. You're not going to be able to see that from the ground, but looking from space, you see that really cool effect of kind of the rippling there here. So let's just preview some things to come here. In Mazatlan, they have that last little crescent sliver of sun. For now, if you're in that area, make sure you keep your glasses on until that sun is completely blocked out by the moon. That's going to be in just a few moments. You're going to have a long duration there, 4 minutes and 17 seconds. That sounds like a lot of time, but it's going to move like that. So make sure you are ready on the pulse. Again, for all of our locations up on this path of totality here too, make sure you set a timer on your watch or a phone or something to remind yourself to look outside and experience this. You don't want to miss this. If you do miss it, you got a long time to wait for the next big one across America. That's going to be in 2045. So make sure you're watching and watching safely here. You just saw some footage from Kerrville and Cleveland as well. It's a little bit cloudy in some places, really hoping that that clears out in time for us to have that beautiful view. But in just a few moments right here, this eclipse is going to be coming up in Mazatlan, Mexico. So for now, this is going to be really exciting. The countdown is on. So for Mazatlan, this is the last little bit here. Again, I'm always keeping an eye on that weather. And also one little note about our tool here too. If you wanted to see, this little icon kind of previews what the expected eclipse is going to look like at that given time. All these little googly eye features are clickable, hyperlinkable. You can kind of click on that. It'll snap you right to that exact time to get an idea for what it's going to look like in your neck of the woods. But for now, the big moment's coming up. Back to you, Megan. Let's check it out.
All right, thank you, James. And as you can see, wow, we just have a tiny little faint sliver left of the sun in Mazatlan, Mexico. We are expecting totality in 1 minute and 35 seconds. You know, joining us now to walk us through this, Kelly Korrick, an astrophysicist with NASA's Heliophysics Division. Kelly, tell us about the science NASA is about to conduct right now in Mazatlan.
So science that they're going to conduct is about the WB-57. So we're going to fly some planes over and make sure that we can actually see that solar corona, that hot atmosphere that's around the sun that we're about to get once we reach totality.
Yeah, and it looks like it's
almost there.
Yes, it's almost there. You know, we have a view right now of inside the cockpit of one of the WB-57s, or at least we're efforting one, because as you said, this is going to be a huge part of what we do in Mazatlan.
Definitely, yeah. It's the
there it is, Kelly.
There it is. Oh, look at that view.
So we're looking out.
That's great. We're looking out, and it looks like we might be able to. We're seeing a lot of clouds, but hopefully a shadow as well as we're coming in to totality there. And so yeah, so these WB-57s are carrying 3 different instruments or 3 different experiments: 2 to look at the sun and 1 to look at our atmosphere, because our atmosphere actually responds to the eclipse, and we're trying to figure out how that ionosphere, that layer of the atmosphere, actually responds to it.
And you said it does look like there's already a shadow over land. You know, we also have a shot, and we'd like to pull that up now, a shot of the coast and the fact that it's already going on over. And you know what's really cool about all of this is we do have eyes all over this thing because we are collecting so much data.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have the stuff here. We also have rockets on the other side of the country being launched to, again, study that. Oh, look at that. There's the diamond ring.
That's right. We're not there, but I feel the energy just watching it.
Yeah, so this is because of the craters and the peaks and valleys of the moon, we're seeing the last bits that are just getting through, and now we're getting to totality. This is great. So you're starting to see those pink fingers out there kind of sticking out.
Wow. So again, totality here in Mazatlan, Mexico, the first community in North America to experience the moon completely eclipsing the sun. And if you are in Mazatlan right now, it is now safe to remove your eclipse glasses for the next 4 minutes. And you mentioned some of those pink filaments that we're seeing, right? Can you talk us a little bit through that, Kelly?
Yeah, so those pink filaments, because they're helium rich, that's why they're appearing pink and they're hanging out there. Those could be the start of space weather. So there are tons of material, billions of tons of material that could possibly be one of those explosions for space weather, the reasons why we really study the sun and try to understand how to live with the sun.
Well, can you explain why space weather is important to us here on Earth?
Definitely. So it's not just satellites that are interested in space weather. It's also our power grids, because of those energetic particles coming from those big explosions that could happen in the sun. That could damage our power grids. It could also do things like interfere with GPS signals. And I know we all use our phones to navigate everywhere. So if we didn't have that, that would be a big problem. So we're looking to understand it better so we can all mitigate all those things.
Some of the movement we're seeing here is just our telescope operator adjusting, because again, they needed to make some changes for before totality. Now they're viewing it a different way, and then after totality we might see some shakes there as well. But I really just cannot believe how crisp it is. As we said, it's not a marble, but I mean, just the view of it is so crisp with these little again, those filaments are just amazing that we can see that to such accuracy, you know?
Right, definitely. And also the white fuzz. I mean, you're seeing something that's 1,000,000 degrees just hanging out all around the sun. And you know, 3 billion Earths can fit inside of there. So there's a lot of atmosphere there, all around there, just hanging out, being very warm. And so one of our mysteries is, and one of the B-57s are addressing.
There you go, WB-57, our pilot.
Yeah.
He's flying. So basically, Kelly, he is going to fly and try to chase down the shadow for as long as possible, keep up with it as long as possible.
Exactly. The shadow is much faster than the plane. However, they can chase it for a while and get an extra 2 minutes. So on the ground, we can only get 4.5 minutes, and they're going to get 6.5 for that plane.
I love that they're waving to us. Oh, there you go. And now we're flipped. Now we're seeing the front. So again, they are in night. I mean, it looks very dark with only some light in the horizon. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's what we'll expect wherever we see totality. Is the night sky is very dark. You might even see some planets or stars, and then you'll see like twilight all around in 360 degrees.
What an amazing vantage point as well. My gosh. I'm very jealous. Kelly, are you jealous? I kind of feel like you're jealous.
I'm kind of a little jealous. Yeah, I kind of want to, see if I can make a faster plane so we can, follow it all the whole way.
Plus, they're up above the clouds, so they don't have to worry
about the clouds. Exactly.
Well, I do want to say a big thank you to the WB-57 pilots and the whole team supporting them for that great view. That was awesome. Kelly, you have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the sun. And for those watching, if you're interested in learning more with her, check out her and other experts featured in the Sun series of NASA's Curious Universe podcast. And that QR code will pop up on the screen, and that'll take you straight to the episodes. Again, look at that double box we got there. We're showing you amazing views during this broadcast. A big thank you, actually, to the Solar System Exploration Research Virtual Institute, or SERVI, for providing the telescope views from Mazatlan.
Yeah, the SERVI team down there, the SERVI team is based out of Ames, but it is a collection of teams across the country and across the world that are sort of studying the intersection of science and exploration, helping us get ready for our next trip with humans to the moon.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, totality is actually about to end in Mazatlan. Let's keep watching our screen right now for, again, what are we watching for, Kelly?
We're watching for the diamond ring effect. So that's when the first bright light, we're starting to see it on this side there. So you're going to put your glasses on right now to protect those beautiful eyes, because now we're going back to the partial phase.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Wow.
Kelly, that's a filter, by the way, everyone. That's why we're seeing that. But when you said put on your glasses, I'm so trained now to do it that I almost did it here in Cleveland. No, we're fine in Cleveland. We're still in Mazatlan. Again, what we're seeing is because we needed to adjust the filter now that, again, it's basically like putting on our glasses. The way that you said people on the ground need to put on our glasses, our telescope operators need to protect their own eyes as well as their equipment.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate your time here with us. It was so fun to learn about the science and actually see the first eclipse come for North America here. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, as you can see, there's a lot to learn about our sun and eclipses. So to explain it all in a really fun way for kids, NASA developed a clever game called Snap It. We have another QR code coming on your screen right now. Just scan that code, or if you're watching us on your phone, all you have to do is screen grab it, press on it later, and you can check out that game. Also the website, if that's easier for you, go.nasa.gov/snapit. Okay, so NASA can predict the total solar eclipse's path to a high degree of accuracy because of a spacecraft that launched nearly 15 years ago. This same spacecraft is now helping our Artemis II astronauts who'll be orbiting the moon next year. NASA's next step in establishing a long-term presence on the moon is sending 4 astronauts to fly around it with the Artemis II mission. Part of the crew's training has been to study images from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO. The spacecraft launched in 2009 and continues to use 7 instruments, including a high-resolution camera, to help us learn more about the moon's surface. Because of LRO, we now know more about the moon's topography than any other planetary body in the solar system, including Earth. The Artemis II crew used LRO data and photographs to learn how to identify lunar landmarks they'll see from orbit and to seek out sites of scientific interest, like possible landing spots for future explorers. While helpful for planning Artemis missions, people back here on Earth also use LRO to predict the shape of the moon's shadow, or umbra, during total solar eclipses. The moon's shadow will change throughout the eclipse, depending on the lunar terrain and the elevations of observers on Earth. People may even see what looks like an arc of solar diamonds around the moon as sunlight peeks through lunar features like craters. That's a look at your Artemis Moon Minute. All right, joining us on the host desk now is a familiar face here. Oh, actually, we have, sorry, Snoopy. Oh, I just revealed that it's Snoopy. Well, I just want to wave real quick to the crowd here at the Great Lakes Science Center, just outside of our host desk, waving at us, waving at the I'm waving back at them like they can see me. But I did just spoil the surprise. We do have Snoopy here, our Chief Safety Officer here at NASA, and he's here to tell us how to safely watch the eclipse. So, Snoopy, if we were to watch the eclipse today before totality, what should we do? That's right. You should have your glasses on. That's right.
Well, and what about during totality, Snoopy? Can we take them off then? Yeah, let me help you out here.
Oh, Snoopy, there I can see your shining bright eyes. I love Snoopy. He's so funny. Now, Snoopy, I have to ask you a question, okay? So today we've been polling everybody, asking for the total solar eclipse today, who is the big star of the show, right? Is it the Earth? Is it the Earth? Is it the moon? Is it the sun? Okay, but you have to pick one.
You have to pick one.
You have to pick one. You don't want to pick one?
All of them.
All of them are great? That's right. Snoopy, thank you so much. I know you're super excited to see the total solar eclipse today. We're glad to have you here. Bye. All right, now let's head back over to Tahira in Kerrville, Texas.
All right, thanks, Megan. I mean, what an incredible view from Mazatlan, Mexico.
That was amazing.
And folks, as you can see in your screen right now, we are less than 1 minute away from the eclipse crossing over Torreon, Mexico. Gina, how fast is this moon shadow moving right now?
I mean, it's flying. It's going about 1,900 miles per hour as we're chasing it across the U.S.
That is incredible. And so, you know, in Mazatlan, we were able to see the diamond ring effect.
That's right. It was beautiful.
Beads. So hopefully we'll be able to see that in Torreon right now.
Yeah, we're watching that live feed.
Yes, just to see this sliver crossing over the moon.
That's right. We're getting so close there. Hopefully we'll see that diamond ring too.
Wow. Look at this. And so we're about 10 seconds away.
Here we go.
Let's take it in. Wow. What a spectacular.
It's going into totality.
Wow. There you have it. We are in.
Yep, that diamond ring came through, and we see a little bit of those Bailey beads too as we're looking at it, those kind of the lights trickling through around the surface of the moon, coming through the peaks and valleys.
So what are we viewing on the left-hand side? This almost pink color effect.
Right, and so as we just heard from the last totality, you know, these pink fingers are popping out a little bit, and those are those solar prominences. They're appearing pink because of the helium rich, but we can see it. Let's focus on the corona here, that glow that we're getting, and we can see basically these streams that are coming out, a lot of that energy and brightness that we do not have the ability to see on a day-to-day basis. So with this total eclipse, we're able to see that corona nice and bright coming through in Torreon.
That is just a magical view. Oh my goodness,
It is.
Gina, okay, and so we've got so many questions coming in online right now from viewers watching this. Our first one is going to be from Justin, who wants to know, you know, right now we are seeing a pretty clear and spectacular view of a total solar eclipse.
Yes.
But Justin wants to know, what will it look like if it's clouded over?
Right, so the view that we're getting right now, you won't be able to see that if it's clouded over, but you will have effects going on, right? You'll get a change in the temperature, so the temperature will drop. It'll still get darker as well.
It's already getting dark here in Kerrville.
I mean, we have some cloud coverage, right? And we're feeling a little extra wind. It's noticeably darker despite the clouds that we have, so you'll get some of those environmental effects, even if it's cloudy where you are.
And so a great follow-up, you know, we've got Halloween Ghoul on YouTube who wants to know, again, will the temperature change during totality, which I know you mentioned that it will get a little bit cooler.
Yes.
But do you know about how many degrees we can expect?
Yeah, you know, it depends on the location, the humidity, multiple factors, but it can change by about 10 degrees or so, depending where you are, maybe even a little bit more than that. And, you know, we're feeling a little chilly kind of where we're sitting compared to what it was earlier. And I mean, I'm just staring at this view of totality that we have in Torreon.
So we're about halfway through totality right now in Torreon, Mexico. And again, I know folks said that this is almost double totality than 2017, right?
That's right, that's right. And so in 2017, we had a little more than 2 minutes. So we're lucky enough this time that we have over 4 minutes in some places too.
This is so beautiful. And so our next question from Sibel on Instagram wants to know, why is the sun more active right now?
So the sun is more active because we have an 11-year solar cycle. The sun goes from solar maximum to solar minimum, where it's changing its level of activity. Oh, and as you're seeing the screen, yeah, so I see in that the bottom right there, we can see that prominence extending out. And as we heard earlier in Mazatlan, you know, that is potentially the beginning of space weather activity. So we're talking about solar maximum. If there's a time to see any of that space weather activity during the total solar eclipse, this is the time to do it. So let's watch that as we go through totality in our other locations too, and maybe we'll be lucky to see some of these features change for us.
That is so beautiful.
It is.
And so Gina, too, you know, how we're in a
a higher cycle, solar cycle right now. How many years, is that fluctuation?
Right. The solar cycle goes on for 11 years when it peaks in activity, and that's where we are, where the latest predictions are that we will reach that maximum sometime this year, and then it'll decrease in activity going back down to solar minimum.